Hey everybody, Tony D and Little Joan here with your final hot take of the evening. Now, before we get into the big news, real quick aside to Chris Christie, a national embarrassment. Yes, Chris Christie is kind of a national embarrassment. Oh, right, he's saying that. Sorry. Chris Christie scorches Trump's legal team. Yeah, it's a kind of convenient timing considering what I'm about to relay to you if you haven't heard it. This is a press release from the Trump Pence team on their website. I'll put a link if you want to see it yourself. And it says, quote, Sidney Powell is practicing law on her own. She is not a member of the Trump legal team. She is also not a lawyer for the president in his personal capacity. Rudy Giuliani, attorney for President Trump, and Jenna Ellis, Trump campaign senior legal advisor and attorney for President Trump. What happened? What happened to the Kracken? Well, the Washington Examiner already got up their story, so let's see what they say. Trump legal team shuns Sidney Powell as insiders and national security officials see no evidence supporting her voting machine claims. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. With Trump allied insiders distancing themselves from massive and unproven election fraud allegations being made by Sidney Powell, the president's legal team announced on Sunday the attorney has no direct role in their efforts. So, could this be another distraction? It's not looking good, folks. Although there is yet another lawsuit brought by, this time, a group of Republicans in Pennsylvania trying to argue that mail-in voting is unconstitutional completely. I don't think that'll overturn it. I don't know how they could make that. I mean, they could make that case. I don't know how they could get it completely overturned. They might, but that one seems really tough. Sources close to the president, continues the article, told the Washington Examiner. Now, this is the Washington Examiner, so they're a little more pro-Trump. So it's not like this is, say, I don't know, CNN. But they told the Washington Examiner neither the White House nor Trump campaign have seen any of the evidence she claims to have related to assertions about voting machines switching millions of votes from President Trump to President-elect Joe Biden. They call him President-elect. They really shouldn't call him that yet. Not certified. They argued that her claims overshadowed what they see as legitimate concerns about the mail-in voting process. Now, some of the pundits on the right were saying this. They were saying, hey, drop all this. This sounds like a conspiracy theory. Jettison it immediately. It's distracting. Was that on purpose, or did the Trump team just sort of bring her on board because, hey, that sounds good? Yeah, come on. Even national security officials within the Trump administration said they have seen no evidence of Powell's claim either. Sidney has made these claims, but she has not shown, to my knowledge, evidence to support them, not to the campaign and not to the White House. I don't know anyone who's seen the evidence, one senior administration official told the Washington Examiner. Where is that evidence? The more she goes out there, the more it overshadows the legitimate problems. The problem with this stuff is you got so over the top and you overshadow the illegitimate, improper things that were done. On Sunday, after the Washington Examiner reached out about, I'm not reading the whole thing, by the way, I'm skipping around, reached out about Trump insiders complaining that Powell's legal effort with the election, the Trump campaign released a statement saying she's not a member of their team. That's what I just read you. Among the evidence Powell claims to have put out is far from proving a case of widespread fraud is an affidavit that said circumstances and events in 2020 are eerily reminiscent to what he alleges witnessed. Okay, so this is just poor copy, but apparently this is, I believe this is the Venezuelan official that Powell has. It's eerily reminiscent to what he alleges he witnessed in Venezuela, provided no firsthand knowledge of any votes being switched in the U.S. if she really had the evidence and she's saying where's the FBI, where's the Justice Department, she should be the first one standing at their door or making it public to the whole world, the senior administration official told the Washington Examiner. And it talks about Dominion coming out and saying no, that's not what happens. Their spokesman is a guy by the name of Steele. He said that this is a nonpartisan American company and it's not physically possible for our machines to switch the votes from one candidate to another. That's a kind of a misleading statement. I mean, if you go back and look at the 2006 documentary, they have people who have switched the votes and broken into the voting machines. I mean, this was well known back in the 2000s. We talked about it endlessly, and then nothing was really done. Although they did beef up the voting checks in Ohio and Florida. So I'm not sure what she's going to do. If she doesn't represent Trump, well, then who does she represent? Is she just trying to wedge herself into there? Or did the Trump team sort of say, hey, yeah, why don't you come with us? And then sort of just let her flounder about. And now they're like, oh, we never said we were going to actually put you a part of the team. I don't know. So now it's looking that Tucker Carlson's situation may have not, a lot of people were saying Tucker Carlson, man, he's finally sold out, man. Hasn't looked at Sidney Powell. I was leaning that way too, but now who knows? Who knows? And this is the woman who represents General Flynn, and she basically won eventually. So I'm not sure what's going on here. Now, that being said, as you all know, I love to speculate as a screenwriter. So if you're going up against the CIA, the FBI, the entrenched deep state, as you will, they got ways of effing you, right? As Chuck Schumer said, they can screw you 7 ways to Sunday. And with a lawyer having a case, it doesn't have to be anything so draconian as like murdering your witness or something. They just need to make evidence disappear. So maybe Powell had all this evidence and now they broke into her computers and poof, it's gone. Or maybe she never had it. I mean, that's more likely. Powell told radio host Glenn Beck on Friday that she has heard that our forces confiscated a server in Germany from an electronic voting system company she alleged was tied to voter fraud. Servers at Skytel in Germany were confiscated the other day, Powell told Beck. I'm hearing it was our forces that got those servers, so I think the government is now working on an investigation of what really happened. That now is not looking very likely, right? I mean, if Powell's credibility is shot, who knows? I mean, it sounded good. An Army spokesman responded that those allegations are false. Skytel issued a statement saying, we do not tabulate, tally, or count votes in the U.S. We do not have servers in our offices of Frankfurt. The U.S. Army has not seized anything from Skytel in Barcelona, Frankfurt, or anywhere else. A Defense Department official told the Washington Examiner that we have no evidence of that and we haven't seen any intelligence showing that, and we have nothing to support we were not involved in that. Trump White House provided the Washington Examiner with a comment. Flynn, who briefly served as President Trump's first national security advisor, pleaded guilty in December 2017 to lying to FBI investigators about his December 2016 conversations with a Russian envoy. But after Powell, a former federal prosecutor, took over his representation in 2019, Flynn claimed he was innocent, withdrew his guilty plea, and pushed for the case to be dismissed. Since then, the Trump administration has unearthed or declassified a host of Flynn-related documents, including a draft communication closing the Flynn case dated January 4th, 2017, showing that the Bureau had turned up no derogatory information on Flynn, but with text from fired FBI Special Agent Peter Strzok, revealing he intervened to keep it open at the insistence of the FBI's 7th floor leadership after the Bureau obtained intercepts of conversations between Flynn and Russia's ambassador in December 2016. Notes about the FBI's interview of Flynn, written by former FBI counterintelligence official Bill Priestap, show him wondering, what's our goal? Truth/admission, or to get him to lie so we can prosecute him or get him fired. We know all that stuff. Why are we going over that? I'm not exactly sure what that has to do with anything. On Saturday, the Trump's campaign's lawsuit seeking to block the certification of Pennsylvania election was dismissed with prejudice by a federal court judge, and the Trump campaign appealed it on Sunday. Oh, well, at least we know that. The Trump team election lawsuits and those by Republican allies across the country related to the massive number of mail-in ballots in the 2020 election have been largely unsuccessful in court. One case related to the late arrival mail-in ballots in Pennsylvania is still pending before the Supreme Court. Well, that kind of didn't answer the question. But, that's, I guess, the Trump White House really didn't provide a comment about what the hell's going on with Sidney. She did show up at these press conferences with Rudy Giuliani. Let's see, it's once, or was there a second one? I think it was at least just the one. So why would the Trump team have her there and have her talking if she wasn't part of this? I guess they used her to kind of pump up their case or keep this show going until they can throw a spanner into the works and get Trump the delegation victory that he wants. I mean, maybe that's what it's always been about. Maybe they don't see any path to proving their case. They just need to gum up the works long enough so that 2 or 3 of the states go, well, we're not going to certify this. Biden doesn't get to 270. They go to delegation. Trump wins. I mean, that's always sort of been my call, that he was going to win by that. That's what I think. I mean, now, if these states certify the election anyway and the electors go and they vote, it's all over. But I don't know. I mean, maybe this was all a smokescreen, and then they figured they put Sidney out there to further get people riled up, and when they didn't, they just said, well, this isn't working, and they pulled her back. And now they're like, dumping her. I don't know. I'm interested to see her evidence now, even more so. Did she have it at all? I think she's got something, but whether or not she could prove something in court, I mean, maybe, again, it was this sort of thing where they brought her out, announced it, and looked around to see who reacted. One of those deals. Maybe if a bunch of people suddenly pulled up stakes and fled the country, you could point to them and go, whoa, what happened to these guys? These guys were part of, the election, and now they suddenly leave the country and go to Venezuela? Maybe. The whole German raid, did it happen? I don't know. Sounded like it happened. But now, sounds like it hasn't happened. So, no third party has come out and said, I mean, well, you got the defense, you got the U.S. Army saying no. So, that's pretty big. So I would lean now towards no, it didn't happen at all. That doesn't mean it didn't happen still. I mean, it still could have happened. They may not have known about it. Or maybe it wasn't U.S. Army guys. I mean, it sounds like the person who has the answers is Sidney Powell. So she's got to come forward soonish. I mean, I get it. She's going to court, but she's making a lot of bold claims And now they're kind of getting her in trouble, and they're kind of like, well, what's the deal here? Um, but despite all that, now that the Trump team has cut ties with her and oh, she was never on her team. It's such a Trump move. Just say she was never on our team. Yeah, but didn't we ask her to come on the plane? Yeah, but we didn't make her part of the team. Oh, yeah, I guess we didn't. So I don't know what's going on. I can't tell you. I don't know. This is all crazy. This has gotten even crazier. Whew, it's starting to exhaust even me. And I think that's part of the plan, too, to exhaust people to the point they don't care. And then maybe Trump gets some sort of boring legal victory. And then we all go, oh, I guess the voting was rigged. Or, now if you look at the other way, the most cynical approach is Trump is doing this to gear people up for Trump TV. And that, he's going to go on Trump TV and then he'll say whatever the hell he wants because now he's not president and he's not restricted by anything. That could be. I kind of don't think that's the case. I mean, again, I'm an optimist. I want to believe that Trump had a little more in mind than just starting a TV network. But maybe he hasn't. Maybe he's just done all he could and he's got a few more tricks up his sleeve before he exits. And this was just a way to extend his time, his attention. But it's not over. Man, what the hell else is going to happen? This roller coaster, man, 2020 has an end date. So let's just remember that 2020 does actually end. But man, this is may you live in interesting times. We are living in the most interesting time ever.